Beautiful
white pulp irritation, and removal of tiny
Zeti Hanu Muhammad Kasim. The motion that will be debated for this semi-final round is this House believes that working home culture should be the norm even after the pandemic has passed. Now, allow me to introduce both the government and opposition team members. On your left, the government team led by Shahira Ahmad. Team members are Shahira Nazmi and Sofia Nadira. On your right, the opposition team led by Jamila Sakina binti Mat Jasin. Second speaker is Khairun Nisa binti Badrul Hisham. And the last speaker is Harisa binti Hazudi. We will now begin this debate session, starting with the first speaker from government's team to introduce the case.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's still early in the morning, isn't it? To be exact, it's already 9:40. So let me ask you a question. What is the first thing that pop up in your mind in this current time? Especially in the weekdays, not on the weekend. It's okay, I'll answer the question. It's working. You are working. So imagine yourself right now at home and you have a flexible working hours. Isn't it great? So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a warm good morning to respected speakers, cautious timekeeper, honorable judges, members of opposition team and members of the floor. Before I put forward on my case today, allow me to state on today's motion, which is working from home culture should be the norm even after the pandemic has passed. So, this House believe on this motion. Okay. To define of the words of our motion, according to Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, working from home, it means that employee is working from their home, their apartment, their residency instead of in an office setting. And culture is a way of life, particularly something that is general in custom and belief of a group of people at a particular time. And as for norm, it is something that is usual, typical and standard. The next is pandemic. I'm sure that members of the floor are well aware with this term pandemic, as we are facing pandemic right now. So pandemic is an outbreak of a disease that occur over a wide geographic area, as example in the multiple countries, multiple continents, in which it will typically affect a significant proportion of the population. To summarize the motion, the meaning of the motion is that it is a concept by where the employee they work at home and should be something that typical even after the outbreak of the disease has come to an end. Thus, from the government side, we are strongly believe that working from home culture should be the norm even after the pandemic has passed. Before we are digging into more deeper on our motion today, let me introduce to you to my respected team members. Me, myself, Shahira Ahmad, as the Prime Minister of Government, will present on the first point, which is working from home increase productivity. And next to me is Ms. Shahira Nazmi, our second speaker, will rebut on the first point from the opposition team and also deliver her second and third point, which is working from home, eliminate the need to commute to work and offers flexible working hours. Last but not least, further at the end of the table, which seems so far away but yet so close, is Ms. Sofia Bawawi, our third speaker. She will rebut on all the 3 points from the opposition teams. Alright, let me straight forward for our first point. It's been mentioned in the Straits Times that been published on 22 April 2021. The head says that yes, working from home make you more productive, which brings me to my first point: working from home increase productivity. So several studies over the past few months shows that productivity of the workers that work remotely from home is better than an office setting. And on average, those who work from home spend 10 minutes less a day being unproductive, working more days in a week and 44.7% more productive. In the same article, it also mentioned that in a work week, those who work at home show more consistency in working. They work more hours and they get to do things more to be done. Right away, this doesn't sound right, isn't it? But It is what it is, and research prove it otherwise. Decline. The study by the Stanford of 16,000 workers over 9 months found that working from home
Yes. It has been 749 days since March 18 of 2020, where the day our previous Prime Minister has announced total lockdown implementation to the whole nation. All of Malaysians were banned from travelling, mass gatherings, students were prohibited from attending school, and employees stopped clocking in the office. On this day, the term work from home was invented and has been used widely ever since. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I bid to the panel of juries, accurate timekeeper, worthy opponents on the government side, my fellow teammates on the opposition side, and members of the floor. I am Jamila Sakina, the Prime Minister of the opposition team. As what has been defined by the Prime Minister of the government side, I agree with the definition given of today's motion as a whole, where the employees can do their job from home and should be something that is typical even after the outbreak of a disease has come to an end. However, we as the opposition team are strongly disagree with the motion of working from home should be the norm even after the pandemic has passed. As the first speaker from the opposition side, I will deliver my rebuttal and provide an argument against today's motion where it can kill our motivation and worsen our mental health. Whereas my second speaker, Ms. Khairun Nisa, will deliver her rebuttals and provide you with two sets of arguments, where the first one should be talking from how working from office will optimize working performances, and the second argument will be increase in networking opportunities when you are working from the office. And last but not least, our third speaker, Ms. Harissa Hazuddin, who will deconstruct of today's debate and tell you on why we should win. Ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker from the government team has tried to tell you that working at home will improve productivity of the employee. Allow me to rephrase from today's motion, where making working at home as the norm even after the pandemic has passed. It is not deniable that working at home will increase the productivity of the workers, for they say they have a convenient working environment. However, the question is how long the productivity will be last. This is because research suggests that switching a remote work to a permanent one will become us less productive. Members of the floor, working from home is challenging. That was the main headline from Berita Harian on July 2021. There are research articles by Oakman et al. In November 2020 stated that those working more days at home will experience a greater emotional exhaustion and cognitive stress associated with reduced social support from their colleagues. And that brings me to my first point. We are against that working from home culture should be the norm even after the pandemic passed, because it kills our motivation and worsens the mental health. Decline. Let me emphasize that we are not against working from home. However, we are firmly against that this culture should not be the norm even after pandemic has passed. Now, let us go back to the definition of the norm itself. It is something that is usual, typical, or standard. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to ask you a question. Do you want to be working at home as standard of your daily life? My answer will obviously be a big no. Why? Because it will destroy your motivation and worsen your mental health. There are a published article by Laura Iniguez, who is a social media strategist with deep experience in employee engagement, people management, and culture, stated there are 3 main reasons on how working from home will reduce our motivation and damage our mental health. So she mentioned the first one is due to increasing workload. Just you imagine, setting up an office space at home will definitely take time and a lot of work on top of completing your office tasks. And secondly, isolation, as most of the time we'll be working alone. The lack of physical connection and having no one to turn to when they are feeling stressed or anxious can lead to work depression. And last but not least, you will have never-ending meetings when you are working at home. This is because when you are working remotely, somehow your day is filled with meetings and calls, as catching up is not as easy as doing it on site. After all these 3 main reasons can lead to burnout, which is known to cause a disturbance in your physical and mental conditions, such as you can get high blood pressure, heart disease, depression, and worst case scenario, it also can cause death. So from what have been said, work is a place where we can connect and enjoy relationship with your colleagues. So it has been tough to be away, honestly. I bet you might also miss your colleagues when you are working from home, right? Hence, ladies and gentlemen, with the arguments backed by all of the evidence, this House is strongly against that working from home culture should be the norm even after the pandemic has passed. With that, thank you.
Thank you for your speech. I now call upon the second proposition speaker. Hello.
Thank you, first speaker from the opposition team. Assalamualaikum. I bid to the honourable judges, respected timekeepers, opposition team, and members of the floor. Standing here today, I am Shahira Nazmi, the second speaker from the government side, will be rebutting the first point from the Prime Minister of the opposition team and stating my other 2 points among this debate today. Okay, before we get down to business, as stated from the Prime Minister of the opposition team, I wholeheartedly disagree with your statement that working from home kills motivation and deteriorates mental health. My question to you is, what exactly do you mean by kills one motivation? When we are at home, we are surrounded by the things we love. We are surrounded by our family, be it a family member or pets or even pots of plants. A study in 2021 by Hayes, he stated that when someone is surrounded by their loved ones, they are not only experiencing the senses of security, but also the sense of comfort from their loved ones. It will also boost their mental, their emotional, and physical well-being. With that being said, I will proceed with today's agenda. Again, I am emphasizing that the government strongly believes with today's motion that working from home should be the norm even after the pandemic ends. My point today, the first point would be working from home eliminates the need to commute to work. Did you know in Kuala Lumpur, an average of people walk to their work is around 0.83 kilometers, about around 30% walks more than 1 kilometer to their workplace. More statistics have shown that an average time spent commuting to work via a public transport is around 51 minutes. 52% over the population stated that they are spending 2 hours in public transportation every day only to commute to work. Ladies and gentlemen, commuting will not only cost you money, but it will cost you time, and also it will cause pollution to the environment. On top of that, commuting is actually not restricted in Malaysia. This problem is also happening worldwide. In Hong Kong, for instance, they are spending an average of 42 minutes on the road to commute to their workplace. In Jakarta, 71 minutes. In Bangkok, 52 minutes just to commute, and the list goes on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, time, every minute counts. Imagine how much time is saved if we decide not to commute to work. A survey by Airtas in 2021 stated that, yes? Okay, I will get back to the question later. I will continue first with my point. Okay, repeating what I said before, Air Tasker Service reported that an average person could save 8.5 hours per week if they decide not to commute to work. Keep this in mind, that why should you put yourself in a situation where you be stuck in traffic rather than you will be completing more work. You can get more things done if you work at home. In addition, with the current technologies that are compensating for better working home environments, such as the existence of clouds, which you can store and access documents online, with the abundance of video conferencing platforms, which helps in
performance. In an office, you are guaranteed a work environment with certain standards and also suitable equipment, such as high-end laptop or desktop, high-speed internet connection, printers, and also fax machine. Okay. So, if you are working from home, of office equipment is much more costly, and check on yourself, where it's not healthy to feel like you are working constantly because it is your own work hours. So you tend to take more breaks when you want to, even when you don't have to. Better can provide opportunity to showcase your leadership.
The government's team to deliver her speech.
to remember about what. Are you confident that by staying inside could log online? I agree with that. However, working online from home can also achieve the same result, but with better approach. Yet, hence, this House agrees in today's motion that working from home culture
Of information. Okay, we'll proceed.
My teammates from the opposition side, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the floor. My name is Harissa, third speaker of the opposition team, and I firmly stand against the motion that we are debating today, which is this House believes that working from home culture should be the norm even after the pandemic has passed. Ladies and gentlemen, responsibilities to cater to at home. It can be your children, your family, your pet, and this will make working from home a lot more difficult. Are you sure that all employees are disciplined enough to work from home efficiently and effectively? Because working from home, it requires self-discipline in order for you to resist distractions, such as spending hours on social media and taking unlimited breaks. This does not, even it's just them rushing to catch their public transportation. And although commuting to work takes up hours, especially when the technology balance, because as soon as the clock strikes 5, you can unplug yourself from work and continue with your life. Flexible working hours may not be for everyone. Okay, so dear ladies and gentlemen and members of the floor, throughout the course of this debate, my teammates and I have been firmly against to a stressful place for you. Instead, it should be a place for you to relax and spend time with your loved ones. You will always have, and this is undeniable, that working from the office provides a more conducive and supportive environment for a positive working performance. In an office, you are guaranteed good standard even after the pandemic has passed. With that, I rest my case. can optimize working performances and increase your networking opportunities, as my second and third speaker mentioned previously. And for the last motion debated today, where this House believes that
Hello? Okay. Members of the floor, since the past 2 years, where company must be coped that working from home prove that it increased and better productivity for them, they become more consistent, working more hours and more things get to be done. And the second point is that it helps to eliminate the need to commute to work. It helps the workers to save money, save time, and also save the environment.
In the opposition side for working from home, because it is cost effective for an institution to have their workers working from home, because they do no longer need to lease a very big space, because those who can work from home can work from home, whereas those who need to be in office would be able to utilize whatever space there is. So it would be a win-win situation, and that would fit with the stand that I mentioned earlier. In terms of the government, you talk about increased productivity. That is a good argument, and I think that was good. But I think the government did not elaborate on the mechanism of how does it increase productivity, rather than just saying studies that shows increased productivity. In order to convince the audience, you need to actually explain how, in what way does it increase productivity. I mean, that's something that could have been improved. I like the point about reducing commute. I think that's one of the important things about working from home. And you mentioned because it's cost effectiveness in terms of reduce travel costs and reduce pollution to the environment. But of course, it also reduces the risk to MVAs. It reduces mental stress in being related to traffic jam and all that. That can further strengthen your point. In terms of flexible working hour, is also something introduced by the government. But that should have been a point that could have been easily attacked by the opposition, because the flexible working hour can actually lead to underproductivity if not without discipline. I mean, they did argue, you did rebut that. I mean, that was good. But you can argue that the flexible working hour can also be a source of stress, because then there will be a lack of boundary between work and life balance, because now everything is at home. But that is also a point for the government, that it can actually increase work-life balance, because then because you're at home, that you can actually fit your life around your working life around your home life, meaning that maybe you can fill up the washing machine before a meeting, whereas if you're at work, then your laundry is not going to be done, something like that. And I think that both teams could have made the debate more interesting by giving a bit more examples or analogies to bring the debate more to life, rather than being too factual without arguing the case well. So I think the points were there, but they were not argued to a point which makes the debate more interesting. Okay, but anyway, I think it's still a good job to both teams for bringing out relevant points which are related to this debate. So congratulations to both teams. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I agree of what Associate Prof. Dr. Budi highlighted earlier. Another thing is what is lack in terms of the, when we debate, we want to see some act, how the intonation, how you actually try to give your, during the rebuttal. We have not seen that enough. Basically, some of you is reading through your notes. I know that it's difficult sometimes to memorize everything, all the information that you have gathered, especially pertaining to references. So you will try to avoid that. I think the message to the next team as well. You won't try to get the idea of what you are trying to rebut or express the point. But again, it should more comes from your heart instead of looking at you and reading through your notes, And there is a majority of the candidates actually, you are quite monotonous. That's what we can capture, that you are reading through your notes. So sometimes a little bit more act, a little bit of, increase the tone to show some emphasis of your point. That makes more lively in terms of looking through the debates. So some of you have a good strategy, and we have seen that for the opposition. But the strategy for the government, I think, need to be more creative in terms of giving your ideas and point that you want to highlight. But basically, both performing well. Then in terms of the points that are being given, they are need to be more elaborated so that everyone can understand the ideas that we are trying to project. Thanks.
Assalamualaikum debaters and all present here. I congratulate both teams for having completed the debate. So thank you judges as well, my fellow judges, for their comments. My only comment is regarding the style of debating. I think in terms of command of the language, both teams did very well. However, in terms of delivery, I think some of you could slow down and speak clearly so that your arguments can be conveyed better. And in terms of the respecting the rules of the debate as well, okay? So this is an in-house debate, but especially if you are going to a competition outside, you have to conform to the debating rules, okay? So like, I think the opposition introduced a POI outside the permitted time, okay? And also in terms of rebuttal, you are not supposed to introduce new arguments, okay? So other than that, I think both teams did very well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, judges, for your comment. The results are now in my hand. The floor thanks the panel of adjudicators. We also thank both the teams for being here today. With the power that was given to me as the Speaker of the House, I hereby declare that the motion is declined. The best speaker of this round is Khairunisa binti Badrul Hisham. Congratulations to the opposition team on winning this debate, and Khairunisa on being the best speaker. With that, the parliament dismissed. Thank you. The next round debate will be on 11 a.m.
which is UiTM underscore FPG or UiTM DSSS 2022, and marks will be calculated from the likes given. So just enjoy the video.
With comprehensive dental care. Well, hello and good day to all. We are from Group 1, representative from Center of Comprehensive Care Studies Department. We'll be explaining about apical periodontitis and endodontic treatments.
This is our teeth. It is hard on the outside, but on the inside is a living sensitive soft tissue, which is the dental pulp. This is healthy tooth. This is tooth infected apical periodontitis.
What is apical periodontitis? It is injured dental pulp infected by bacteria, leading to inflammation, causing pain. If not treated, it will travel down to the root, causing acute painful abscess and inflammation of bone surrounding the tooth. What are the causes of apical periodontitis? It can be dental trauma, dental caries, and also periodontal disease.
When you have tooth discomfort and need treatment, you have one option. You can save it with endodontic treatment. Endodontic treatment encompasses a range of procedures to relieve pain and avoid tooth loss. The goal of endodontic treatment is to ease pain and keep the pulp healthy. These include removing tooth decay or removing a small portion of a diseased tissue, and root canal treatment can be performed.
Generally, strict asepsis is essential for all endodontic treatment.
The procedures that can be included are elimination of tooth decay to avoid pulp irritation and removal of tiny part of diseased tissue before sealing the tooth.
So, what happens if the dental pulp cannot be recovered?
Root canal treatment.
This treatment is safe and highly effective to alleviate pain and save our teeth. So during root canal treatment, the root canal will be cleaned, filled, and restored so that the teeth could be function normally again. So that's all from us. Thank you for watching.
Here are 5 ways to take care of your teeth during pandemic.
Hi everyone, so here is the first way to take care of your teeth during pandemic. So firstly, you need to brush your teeth regularly. At least you need to brush your teeth twice a day, which is once in the morning and once before bed. So what is the next step? Let us check it out.
The second way is by using fluoridated toothpaste. Why? Because fluoridated toothpaste can help to strengthen enamel, prevent dental caries and cavities, and also promotes remineralizations. However, we should spit out the toothpaste and don't swallow the toothpaste after you brush your teeth because ingesting too much fluoride during early tooth development can lead to fluorosis.
Number 3. Reduce sugary and junk foods. During pandemic, body tend to crave high sugar foods because most of us are having stressful times. And sadly, sugar will attract bad bacteria on the tooth. So it is advisable to try change to a less sugary diet such as unsweetened tea, nuts, milk and cheese, leafy greens, and also you can try avocados with toast or salad.
Number 4. Make sure to disinfect your toothbrush regularly. But how? You can run hot water over it before and after usage, or soak into the bacterial mouthwash for about 2 minutes, or invest in a UV toothbrush sanitizer, and don't forget to replace your toothbrush every 3 to 4 months.
The last way is to go for your dental checkup. It is recommended for most patients to do 2 dental visits a year, and the time between the checkups can vary from 3 months to 2 years. And before that, make sure to schedule an appointment with your respective doctor and follow the standard operating procedure. Remember, catching problems early makes them more manageable.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Hello everyone, so today we are going to talk about MIH. So what it stands for? It stands for molar incisor hypomineralization. This is a type of oral disease from enamel defect that can cause enamel discoloration. For your information, the most affected teeth would be the first molar incisor of a child permanent teeth that age 8 to 12 years old. Usually, this also happens due to unbalanced diet, genetic disorder, or a childhood illness.
Alright, now, how can we differentiate between MIH and other dental anomalies? MIH affect teeth in asymmetrical, meanwhile fluorosis affect teeth in symmetrical. MIH only affected molar and incisor, meanwhile all teeth in both dentition are affected in amelogenesis imperfecta. And lastly, MIH is due to post-eruptive weakening of enamel. Meanwhile, enamel hypoplasia is due to pre-eruptive lack of enamel.
Next are the signs or symptoms we could see if someone experiencing MIH. Firstly, the appearance of their teeth without any brightness, its color would change into a yellowish or a brownish color. Secondly, they will also easily feel more pain and more sensitive, especially when they are eating or brushing their teeth. Thirdly, their teeth would appear calmly and also chip away easily.
The treatments and managements for MIH are actually depending on the tooth itself, whether it has a good prognosis or a poor prognosis. For the tooth with a good prognosis, the treatments that can be given to the patient are microabrasion, radiant infiltration, or we call it as icon, dental veneers, and also the whitening treatment to manage the decolorization of the enamel. The tooth with poor prognosis, the only way to manage it is by doing tooth extraction.
In summary, parents should start bringing their children for regular dental checkup as early as possible to detect any problem and to take full advantage of early treatment such as interceptive orthodontic treatment. This may reduce or eliminate the need for more complicated treatment later. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to honorable judges, international delegates, head of departments, respected lecturers, and members of the House. Today, I, Sharifah Hadira, will be chairing this debate and will be assisted by Muhammad Irfan as the precise timekeeper. I welcome everyone to the preliminary round of the debate competition for this year's Dental Student Scientific Pre-symposium. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I would like to briefly explain the guidelines and house rules of this competition. Each speaker will deliver her speech for 6 minutes and are reminded to keep to time. Any points made when the time is exceeded will not be counted. The timekeeper will ring the bell once at the end of the first and fifth minute, and the bell will be rung twice at the end of the 6 minutes. Once the bell has been rung twice, speakers are given 20-second grace period for their conclusion. Points of rebuttals made after the 6th minute will be not counted. Excessive heckling is prohibited. Points of information may be offered in this debate competition during constructive speech only after 1st minute up to the 5th minute and should not exceed 15 seconds. After all the speakers have presented their speech, 3 minutes will be given for a discussion before we hear the final reply speech. The final reply speech will start with the opposition team, followed by the government team. During the reply speech, the timekeeper will ring the bell once again at the 2nd minute to signal that the debater has 1 minute left. At the end of 3rd minute, the timekeeper will ring the bell once again to signal the end of the debate. Without further ado, allow me to introduce the judges and the debaters. Today's debate will be chiefly adjudicated by Associate Professor Dr. Budi Aslini Mat Sabri, Associate Professor Dr. Mariati Mat Dasor, and Dr. Zati Hanum Muhammad Kasim. The motion that will be debated for this semi-final round is: the House believes that social media has improved human communication. Now I allow to introduce both the government and opposition team members. On your left, the government team, led by Nurul Akila Aisyah binti Zaid. Team members are Nabilah Amin and Fatin Atira Husna Nordin. On your right is the opposition team, led by Nur Hidayah binti Osman. Team members are Wan Fatimah Wan Fatun and Nur Fazliana binti Muhammad Fazil. We will now begin this debate session, starting with the first speaker from government's team to introduce their case. Yes.
Okay, I would like to ask, those who have Instagram or TikTok, have you guys watched Khairul Amin's recent post? Some of it has countless millions of shares and also comments. Especially his lempeng pisang, ayam masak merah, ikan goreng, sambal balado, and also spicy cheese melted tuna, which is so tempting, especially during this blissful month of Ramadan. Nah, but I am just teasing you guys. So, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning I bid to all our honorable judges, timekeepers, members of the hall, and the optimistic opposing team. I would like to introduce all of our team members, which are me, myself, Nurul Akila Aisyah, and our second speaker, the beautiful Miss Nabila, and also our stunning third speaker, Miss Fatin Atira Husna. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I started with Khairul Amin's food post was because it is closely related to our motion for today. And the motion for our debate today is social media has improved human communication. Now, let me define the words in this statement in detail for your understanding. So what does it mean by social media? To simply put, it is a computer-based technology that facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through virtual networks and communities. Where citizens and consumers used to have limited and somewhat muted voices, now they could share their opinion with many with the emergence of social media. The low cost and accessibility of this new technology medium also allows more options for media consumption than ever before. Now, the word improve gives the meaning of making something better than before. A word where in this context we can safely say that it has given positive impact on human communication with the aid of social media. Finally, the word human communication is defined as human-to-human interaction through messages. It consists of sending and receiving of verbal and non-verbal messages between two or more people. So, the overall statement of social media has improved human communication generally signifies that the interaction between humans has become better via the aids of social media. Members of the hall, why do we agree with this motion is firstly due to social media's capability to allow people to keep in touch with one another. Trust me, most of us have at least one social media such as WhatsApp, TikTok, or even Instagram just to communicate with other people or simply for entertainment. Even if you are at the other end of the planet, you can still share updates through these social media platforms with just one click away. Now, let me give you some examples. For the last 2 years, we have been challenged with COVID-19 pandemic, and this has hindered face-to-face interaction among the people. Because of this, according to the start in 2021, the use of social media has been on the rise during movement control order, or which can be called as MCO. People get to communicate with their family members who got separated during MCO through WhatsApp video calls and FaceTime, or even sending surprises and gifts from afar through the means of social media platform. Even before COVID pandemic, social media is a critical platform for making and staying in touch with friends. It is not surprised that teen social media users reports that social media makes them feel better when they are connected to their friends by exchanging feelings and information. In fact, it allows them to learn more regarding their new friends. According to Pew Research Center in 2015, nearly 2/3 of teens that have made new friends online say that they can make them on social media platform. In addition to this, social media also creates opportunities for social support from their friends and peers. Among teens, 60% of them have received support on social media during challenge and also tough times. Now, when I emphasize on keeping in touch with people, it does not solely revolve around friends and family, but it can also include the government aspect as well. To add on this point, the government has also been using social media platform. For example, the KKM government Instagram. They use it to convey important statistics to the people, such as death and also the infected rates from the COVID pandemic in our country. This is obviously a great approach done by the government to interact with the people regarding the current status of our country. People would use the posted statistics and repost them all over social media, subsequently by raising awareness to the community. Now, can you see the clearer picture on how social media indirectly involves the people and also government in this situation? In the fact, the data that is usually posted on social media is much more faster than the ones that are displayed on the national television, which is why people nowadays are prone to use social media as the news spread as fast as the lightning. To sum up with all the reasons and justifications that I have conveyed, this House strongly believes that our motion today, social media has improved human communication, is accepted with no further explanation for this point.
Thank you very much, Madam First Speaker. We shall now hear from the first speaker of the opposition team.
Yes. The key to holding a logical argument or debate is to allow oneself to understand the other person's argument, no matter how divergent their views may seem. Good morning to honorable judges, Mr. Timekeeper, respected lecturers, and my fellow competitors for today. Today's motion is social media has improved human communication.
and we, the opposition team, are against this motion. Before we deliver our point of argument, let me introduce our team members. Our team consists of first speaker, which is me, myself, Hidayah Osman, where I will provide our first point, that is social media can cause addiction. Second speaker is Miss Wan Fatima, which she will rebut the points from second speaker from government team. She will also provide 2 points regarding negative effect of social media in human communication in terms of education as well as business. And last but not least, our third speaker, Ms. Fazliana, where she will rebut all the points from government team and prove to all of you why we decided to oppose this motion. Thank you to government team for your point. However, I would like to refute the motion which stated social media improve human communication that was introduced by first speaker from government team. We do agree with definition provided by government side with social media as computer-based technology that facilitate the sharing of ideas through virtual network and community. However, when she pointed out that this technology can improve human communication, I was a bit skeptical, as from our understanding, to allow people to keep in touch through social media, one needs to have a stable internet coverage, right? So what about those people who live in rural area? Should we leave them behind? This is a major setback that needs to be considered. As what the first speaker said, we can get a lot of benefit from social media as it shows a good word to people, as social media allows us to keep in touch with people. But from my point of view, it can also destroy the mental peace of mind if people use it excessively, which people can become addicted to social media. According to Griffith et al. 2000, he described social media as one form of internet addiction, where people tend to spend a lot of time on social networking sites can lead to tendency to loss of concentration. In addition to this, a study conducted by Akin 2011, an internet addiction found that internet addiction could contribute to 45% of depression, 40% of anxiety, 40% of stress. And with all of these statistics, I am not convinced with today's motion stating that social media has improved human communication, as many studies have been done on setback of social network sites, where one of the main highlights is social media addiction. You can lie facts when it comes to be statistic. Thank you. That is all from me.
Thank you for your speech. I now call upon the second proposition speaker.
According to UCLA, there were 30.25 million social media users in Malaysia in January 2022. In addition, there are roughly 4.5 million internet users across the world today. These statistics are proof of the growing dominance of digital media in our daily lives to begin with. Before I continue further, Assalamualaikum and a very pleasant day I bid to the honorable judges, the precise timekeepers, worthy opponent, my comrades, and members of the floor. I'll do two things today. I will rebuttal every single problematic idea from that side, and I will give my points of view. Number one, the opposition fails to prove that there's no solid evidence where people get addicted to social media and it could actually be beneficial. According to Insider, in 2018, a lot of research on addiction has been characterized by poorly done studies. The vast majority of evidence suggests that social media are not uniformly harmful, and in some cases, they may be a force for good. We are often blinded by the harmful effect of social media, when in fact, there are so many perks that can be gained from it, and that is why we have come out with strong points to strengthen our motion today. Now, I'll give out my point. Social media has improved communication in the aspect of business strategy among the community. How does it work? movement, advertisement, and products are all being broadcasted on social media platforms thanks to the increase in number of the social media users nowadays. Today, business rely on social media to create brand awareness as well as to promote and sell their products. It allows organizations to reach customers irrespective of geographical boundaries. The internet has facilitated a resource to humankind that has unfathomable reach and benefits. I'm pretty sure that some of you have bought Khairul Aming Sambalnyat because of its popularity in the social media platforms, right? This is a good example of good advertising in social media platform. Nowadays, COVID era has changed online shopping forever. The survey conducted by Unted et al. Shows that online purchase have been increased by 6 to 10%. And the biggest gainers are ICT, gardening, pharmaceutical, education, furniture, and also cosmetic and personal care categories. In regards to that, seemingly a simple social media post, such as one promoting a pair of shoes, can receive several likes, comments, and shares. People can even ask strangers in their feed if they have received their shoes, how long the shipping took, if they like them, and other questions. Social media opens the conversation for instant interaction, relationship building, and customer loyalty, thus increasing the online purchases and proof the social media will improve communication in the aspect of business strategy. Moving on to my second point, social media is the educational process between students, educators, and parents. Today, education institutions are adapting these developments into their system and relying on group resources and mechanisms to improve the student life. The use of social media in education helps students, teachers, and parents to get more useful information. The use of this social media helps to connect with learning groups and other educational systems that make education convenient. Social network tools afford students and institutions with multiple opportunities to improve learning methods, and through these networks, you can incorporate social media plugins that enable sharing and interaction. As an example, students can benefit from online tutorials through YouTube, online courses delivered by universities abroad through Skype, and wide array of resources that are shared through the social network. A researcher of the University of Florida in 2013 reported that electronic devices and social media create an opportunity for the students for collaborative learning and also allow the students to share the resource material with their colleagues. In addition, the great thing about using social media in education is that you soon learn who the experts are in different fields and subjects. When you start following this expert, you learn more and therefore gain useful content from them. This will empower you to produce a great result. Social media also benefit the teachers, where they may use social media as a medium to get new resources to support their lesson, activity to teach particular concept, bulletin board ideas, information on new apps to do follow-up on certain topics, as well as the network and know-how and what is happening in the school throughout the world. As for parents, school demonstrate responsiveness to a parent by communicating openness to new information, suggestion, and other forms of feedback about the school activity. In other words, parents can now communicate right away with teachers through a social media application. Thus, from all of my points, it has proven that social media is definitely a helpful platform for the community. Therefore, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. I now call upon the second opposition speaker.
Good morning to the panel of judges, timekeepers, members of the government, and members of the hall. I, as the second speaker of the opposition team today, will disagree with the second and third point given by the second government speaker. And the opposition team believes that social media does not improve human communication. Having said that, I will then provide with two more points to support our belief that social media does not improve human communication, and to let you know how the social media has far more damaging effects compared to the good ones. The second speaker stated that the social media has improved human communication through online business broadcasting. What the government failed to say is there will be higher risk and possibility of security breaches and information leaks, which could have a bad impact on the company's reputation and image. When things like this happen, it will leave the customers and clients in a state of shock and confused, especially when most social media accounts would usually notify the incidents like this that happens through emails. And emails alone is insufficient to ensure that people understand the situation they are in, and this is mostly due to poor communication through social media. The second speaker from the government team also stated that social media eases the educational process for students. What the government failed to say is the use of social media in education draws students to false and inappropriate information without proper validation. Many writers post wrong information on social sites, which leads to education system failure, and this does not improve education and does not make education convenient. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to our second point to oppose the motion today, which focus on the negative effect of social media towards human communication in terms of education. Social media is the culprit that caused students to lose the ability to engage themselves in a face-to-face communication. The more time the students spend on social sites, the less time the students will spend socializing in person. Because of the lack of body languages and other non-verbal cues, social media alone will not be an adequate tools for students in a face-to-face communication and to form proper human connection and bond. A proper human communication and connection will help to build interpersonal skills, and these skills is important to help with students for a better learning and improving academics and education too. With that being said, I would like to move on to the third point to oppose the motion today, which focus on the negative effects of social media in human communication in terms of business. The business field through social media is not entirely risk-free from dangers of scammers and hackers. In another word, cybersecurity risks that is posed to social media accounts is high. Social media accounts can be prone to security breaches, leaks of information and property, and companies violations, according to Cullen et al. 2010. Scammers may impersonate these social media accounts and threaten the victims for money and threaten them with many bad things unless the victims pay a fee. They may also set up a fake profile and ask money from the victims using fake emergencies. Yes, please.
Do you think people are easily tricked by scammer when there is a television news that bring awareness to this matter?
Thank you for your question. Quoting your statement, the news and television nowadays have raised awareness on these problems of scammers and hackers. That is true. However, even the increasing awareness, people still get tricked by the scammers. This is because nowadays the scammers have come up with new and advanced techniques using technological advancements and with a more expanded organizations. Most complaint case of scamming happen through the phone without the scammers having to meet in person, and they still could easily get personal information from the victim. This is why effective human communication could not be achieved through social media. We from the opposition team against the motion that social media improves human communication. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your speech. I now call upon the rebuttal speaker from the government team for deliver her speech.
First and foremost, I would like to apologize on behalf of my teammates because they are such a huge fans of Khairul Amin. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our respected judges, dedicated opponent teams and members of the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, my role as a third speaker today, I will summarize the debate and explain why our team have won. First, I will rebut the other team's argument and I will also reinforce my team's point and explain why they still stand at the end of the debate. Members of the floor, the first speaker from the opposition team mentioned that social media causes addiction, which I think it makes absolutely zero sense. The word addiction is not something that we can simply use and describe as a set of behavior. It is known that the average internet user, they spend almost two hours on various social media sites. But let me ask you one question. Does your habit of checking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram makes you a social addictor? I guess it is not. Again, as for example, when the phone is the only type of predominant communication, must we say that teens, they had phone addiction? Probably not. It is just a normal mode of communication. So there are few papers and articles that you can look on internet saying that social media does not cause addiction. Science Daily, Insider, MedPage Today, and South University, and many more, they are saying that social media does not cause addiction. The key, the main point is to be able to balance the exciting form of interaction with all the other aspects of our life. Then again, the second speakers of the opposition team just added fuel to the fire when she mentioned that social media is not an adequate replacement for face-to-face communication. I would partially agree with your statement. However, as what like my first beloved speaker had mentioned, there are crucial times where we need social media to communicate. For example, these include a situation such as COVID-19 pandemic where avoidance of crowded places is required. Yes, people are spending more time on the internet and other forms of social media, which may replace the time they spend conversing face to face. But that does not mean they are worse off for it, and they must ultimately be responsible for maintaining their relationship, whether that is through social media or other means. Apart from that, I'm afraid that I would have to agree with with the second point pointed by the second speaker from the opposing team, saying that social media can be prone to security breaches, leaks of properties, and companies violation. Are you sure about that, miss? I bet each and every one of you has your own online banking, right? But do you think it is easy for people to hack your online banking and take all your money? If you are saying if you are saying yes to that, I guess you wouldn't be able to standing here and spending on your basic needs. To strengthen my rebuttal point, in Malaysia, the Personal Data Protection Act PDPA in 2010, which came into force on 15 November 2013, has set out a very comprehensive cross-sectoral framework for the protection of personal data in relation to commercial transactions. Given the increased number of incidents of credit card fraud, identity theft, and the sale of personal data without customer authorization, the PDPA was viewed as a critical enabler for strengthening consumer confidence in electronic commerce and corporate transactions. So as a final word, let me summarize my point of view. Social media always allow you to keep in touch with people, improve business strategy among community, and ease the educational process between students, educators, and also parents. It can be used by both personal and business purposes. It brings people to talk, share their interests and ideas, as well as make new friends. Basically, social media, it helps people from different geographical regions to collaborate with each other. And it could not be denied that social networking platforms have always been found to be easy to use. Again, the influence of social media has given a rise in a new type of communication in which interaction and rapid information can be gained easily. As for example, people can use social media networking site to find groups that share their interests. People can discuss their likes and dislikes, interests and obsession, as well as their thoughts and opinion with this organization, which contribute to a more open society. So last but not least, because of the pervasive impact of social media, businesses are looking for more employees who are well-versed in social media platform to fill crucial jobs within an organization. Indeed, social media as a corporate function is quickly expanding and offers a variety job of prospects. So with all the justification I have mentioned, I strongly believe that social media really improves human communication. Thank you.
Thank you. The rebuttal speaker from the opposition team will now deliver her speech.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to our respected judges, government teams and members of the floor. I am Nur Fazliana as the third speaker of opposition team today. So today, we, the opposition team, believe that social media does not improve human communication. However, I agree with the first point of the government team by their first speaker, where social media allow people to keep in touch, especially during this pandemic. Me, myself, and I believe all the members of the floor have been using social media such as Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, and name it, all applications to get connected with each other. It is true that in this pandemic situation, all the information about pandemic condition, standard operational procedures are being conveyed by social media. But me and my opponent team partially agree with the point that all community will be benefits from the use of social media platform in getting important statistics and information from government pertaining to the COVID pandemic issue. I believe that there is a lot of people, especially in the rural area, that didn't get the information from social media about this situation. An example, not only people that does not have social media, but also people that have almost no internet coverage at their area. So how about these people that may have missed a lot of information? Another point is, since social media is widely used, there is a lot of misleading information. Let's just have a look at our government vaccination program. Since this vaccination program had been implemented in Malaysia, there is a lot of misleading information from anti-vaccine group spreading all over the country and even all over the world. This can be simply by sending via WhatsApp group, Telegram group, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and many more. So we, from the opposition team, believe that social media cannot be the first medium for communication in relaying important message to society in our country. Members of the floor, before rebutting the second points from the government team, I will let you guys know that I am a big fan of online shopping platform. Given Shopee, Lazada, Zalora, name it. And I even bought the sambal nyet from Khairul Amin. But that is not my point. As my second team member had said before, security breach, information leaks can happen by using this platform. It's just simply, but as you guys remember, how there is a lot of problem happened before this by this one famous online banking system in Malaysia itself, where everyone can log into people's account with the wrong password. And remember, This issue does not happen once. Not only that, another point about this is people can easily be scammed by many of the sellers. Even this happened to me, and I believe some of the members of the floor. Thus, we in opposition team against that social media will improve business strategy among community. Before I rebut the last point from the government team, let me ask first, how many educators, lecturers, students here prefer physical classes rather than online classes? The second speaker has stated they believe social media eases the educational process between students, educators, and also parents, especially during this pandemic time. Here, let me remind you that not all students can afford this online learning. There are a lot of circumstances, problems that will arise for some students. For example, students with poor internet coverage, students with limited devices. For example, some students need to share the device with their siblings. And as we all know, physical class has different materials and providing different environment to students. Many of these elements will help students to concentrate and focus in class compared to online classes. As my second team member stated before, the more the time students spend on social sites, the less time they spend socializing in person. Thus, we from the opposition team strongly against that social media is educational process and improve human communication. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, I will proceed to convince you why we against that social media improve human communication. As mentioned by team member before, social media can cause addiction, can cause students to lose the ability to engage themselves face-to-face communication. And lastly, cyber security risk that is posed to business through social media is very high. Thus, we from the opposition team against the motion that social media can improve human communication. With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. We will now provide 3 minutes for both teams to discuss before we hear the final reply speech. 3 minutes. from each team, starting with the opposition team.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that pursuit of truth, right others' truth, honest debate, and rigorous argument is a noble undertaking. Once again, I say that we disagree with the motion of social media has improved human communication at very beginning. Just, I want to deliver a summary of our point of view. Again, I would like to emphasize or brainwash all of you that even social media have been a useful technology. It also can ruin our life. Social media can influence your brain in a harmful way as it will lead to addiction as one uses social media excessively. They will become so accustomed to scrolling through post image that it interferes with others' area of their life. Next point I want to highlight is social media can affect human communication in terms of education as it can cause students to lose their ability in social skill and lack of confidence to talk in front of people. Last but not least, social media gives negative effect to business where it can lead to danger of scammers. Hence, we are against today's motion because we believe that social media does not always give good impact to society. Nevertheless, I want to end today's debate by saying to all of you, remember, convincing yourself does not win an argument, fact does. Thank you.
Last but not least, we will now hear the government's final reply speech.
Thank you everyone for your attention. There is truth in today's debate, the government and the opposing team. But ladies and gentlemen, as for my reply speech, I would like to gain your attention regarding social media has improved human communication in various aspects. We would like to again highlight how social media has improved human communication by allowing us to keep in touch with people which is brought by our side. Social media has also improved business strategy that helps many people to promote and advertise their product to the community, especially during this tough time. Finally, social media has eased the educational process between students, educators, and parents by using different types of social media platforms to interact and exchange information with one another. All of these 3 points strongly shows how impactful social media is on improving human communication. So, why would we want to see the harmful effects of social media in human communication when we can utilize the good form from it? Don't be stubborn. Improve your argument. Thank you. That's all from us.
Thank you for the both teams. Now, judges, you are given 5 minutes to discuss. comments to the debater.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning still. Okay, thank you to the chairperson and thank you to the debaters for arguing the motion. Okay, for this particular debate, I have a few comments. I think we, the judges, believe that the debaters, both the government and the opposition, has strayed a little bit from the motion. You have been arguing that social media is beneficial or not beneficial to human beings, rather than how has it improved human communication per se. Because you have been arguing quite a lot about how social media impacts on businesses, on how it causes addiction. I mean, those are the risks or the disadvantages of social media. But actually, the argument would have been better if it was focused about how it improves the quality of human communication or how it improves the quantity. The first speaker from the government did start off quite well by talking about how it allows people to keep in touch, people from other ends of the world can be connected, increases connectivity, so that, yeah, it started off well. But the first speaker from opposition then made a case for addiction. Addiction is a consequences of social media usage, but it does not actually tell us how that impacts on communication per se, okay? And then the government then talks about how it improves. I think it was still quite okay when you talk about instant communication between parent and students and teachers or something like that. So in terms of it allows instant communication, that I think is okay. But then you talk about the quality of education in terms of how social media. I mean, it wasn't clear. It started off well again, but then it kind of went sideways. And the rebuttal from both sides were not very solid, to be honest. I really have to say that we do not agree for the debaters to be agreeing with each other, because there were so many. The government was agreeing with the opposition was agreeing with the government. So this is going to be a hung parliament, okay? Because honestly, you should not be agreeing with one another. I mean, I know we're very kind and it's Ramadan and all, but you guys are debating, for God's sakes, you know? So you can't be agreeing with one another. You're supposed to be arguing the topic. So actually, just to give some ideas what you could have actually argued about, for the government, you could have said that social media actually, one thing in terms of communication, it actually brings the millennials to be more engaged in terms of knowing what's happening in terms of news, because we know, for example, millennials no longer read newspapers, but because of social media, they're exposed to what's going on in the world. You can talk about how it actually increases, it makes communication, which is not face-to-face, more personalized, because that's what social media allows us to do. It lets us glimpse into other people's lives based on their postings. It connects us with people which otherwise we would not be connected to. That is what social media allows. I mean, those are one of the things that you can talk about. And for the opposition, there's so many things that you can talk about to disprove that argument by talking about how it actually changes communication in terms of the quality. Social media may actually make human beings become prone to increase the need to overshare, which is not necessarily an improved form of communication, because you share too much. The sense of privacy or knowing what is proper to share or what should not be shared becomes blurred because of social media, you know. In no other way do you go around carrying an album showing people where you've been without being asked, but because of social media, you do that freely. And is that really an improvement? Or is that being a communication which is without border. So those are things that you can argue. And it also makes people communicate in a very summarized manner. So instead of having the ability to write or talk in a way which is very proper, now people are using short forms and becoming very curt. So in terms of the quality of communication is at risk. So those are things that should have been argued and we should have been hearing this morning. Okay, so anyway, it was a good attempt on both sides, but I think for this particular debate, it was a bit tersasar, for a lack of a better word. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, I also would like to congratulate for both team, government and opposition. I think you have made an effort to find out some information pertaining to these topics. I would agree with Sisha Prof. Dr. Budi, the fact that a lot of things that has been discussed are not focusing on the human communication, and the way that you highlight social media, it's sort of giving a little bit more different perception, especially pertaining to the educational media when you compare between online to face, you see. So we wanted to hear more in terms of how you explain human communication, and if opposition wanted to mention the fact that with social media there's a limited way of expression. Sometimes, if over-expressed or misinterpretation in terms of communication, sometimes it doesn't mean that way, then those are going to be something that will not improve communication, but it sort of jeopardize the meaning of communication itself. So it's kind of, looking at one team agreeing among each other, meaning that you already, especially the opposition, agree that they towards the government. So you're sort of being on their side already without standing to what motion that you're trying to highlight to the audience. So when you rebut some of the information, when you start off so excited to hear the fact that it's good, but when you try to sort of justify your point, it deviate away, and to even deviate away from the topics or the motion of debate today. So those are the things sometimes when you get overexcited, you tend to, giving a little bit more different meaning to your points that you want to highlight to your audience. But again, we definitely congratulate you on the efforts that you have put on, and some of you probably, have done that at the last minute, but congratulations. It's a good effort, and then it is way of improving your communication and express yourself. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum to debaters and all the audience, and thank you Dr. Budi and Dr. Mariati for your constructive comments. I think both teams gave your arguments. However, for me, what is lacking in the debate is the rebuttal. Okay, for one thing, all the third speakers seems to partially agree with one another, with their opposing team. And I think it would have also been interesting if the first and second speaker can challenge the arguments of the opposing team rather than leave everything to the third speaker to rebut. Okay? In terms of your arguments as well, I think it is too broad scope. You should have probably focused more on aspects of human communication, such as individual effect and, in terms of the mental effect, cognitive and things like that. But otherwise, I think both government and opposition did okay, and I congratulate both teams.
Thank you, judges, for your comments. The results are now in my hand. The floor thanks to the panel of judges. We also thank both the teams for being here today. With the power that was given to me as the Speaker of the House, I hereby declare that the motion is accepted. Congratulations to the government teams on winning this debate. With that, the Parliament dismissed. Thank you.
We are the Year 1 dental students from UiTM Sungai Buloh, and today we'll be talking about periodontology.
Hello, I am Dr. May from Hospital Sungai Buloh. So today I will share a story about one of my experiences treating a patient with gum disease called periodontitis. Now, let's hear a story that can be eye-opener for us to take care of our gums health.
My teeth, it hurt so bad when I was chewing.
Are you okay, Nani? Do you need any help? Let me accompany you to the dentist.
Hello Nani, how are you doing today?
Not really good, doctor. I've been having some gum pain recently.
Well, we'll take a look first. Open your mouth, please.
So, how is it, doctor?
Well, there is some inflammation on your gums, which is also called periodontitis. Periodontitis is an inflammation of the supporting tissues of teeth that occurs when the gum tissues separate from both tooth and sulcus, forming periodontal pockets.
So, what are the symptoms for periodontitis, doctor?
Let me explain more about the periodontitis.
Periodontitis is usually characterized by gum inflammation with redness, puffiness, and bleeding, deep pockets that form between the gum and the tooth, loose teeth, and bad breath.
But don't worry, there are few choices of treatments based on the severity of your gums inflammation. There are antimicrobial mouthwash, daily brushing, and flossing to prevent the formation of dental plaque. But if your gum gets worse, bone and soft tissue grafting, scaling, and root planing may be needed.
I see. So, what is the possible prevention that can be done before it becomes worse, doctor?
Brush your teeth twice a day, floss regularly, follow up dental checkups, and stop smoking. You just need to be consistent because plaque will constantly forming on your teeth.
Let me tell you why periodontal health is important to us. It can help us to prevent this dental and gum disease, provided adequate support and preserve teeth, as well as maintaining optimal systemic health from lung and cardiovascular disease.
Thank you, doctor, for a great explanation. Surely I will take extra care of my oral health starting today.
To start off, gum disease, or medically termed as periodontitis, is a gum infection that can lead to soft tissue damage. If there is no further treatment, the infection may spread to the bone and destroy it. It can also loosen the teeth from its position and cause tooth loss. It is common but also preventable.
Next, we're going to see the common symptoms for gum. The first one is red or swollen gums that usually further can cause bleeding gums when we are brushing our teeth, and then painful chewing, bad breath, sensitive teeth, loose teeth, and lastly, the gums that pull away from your teeth.
I will continue about the cause of dental gum disease. First is because of the hormonal change. Secondly, because of the illness such as cancer and HIV. Third is the cause of it is because of the medication. Also, it can also be caused by the poor oral hygiene habit and also bad habit such as smoking. And lastly, because of the family history of dental disease.
Gum disease can be prevented in many ways. Firstly, we have to maintain a good oral hygiene by brushing your teeth twice a day, flossing, and regular dental visits. We also need to change our lifestyle and health by maintaining a good balanced diet, avoid clenching and grinding your teeth, and stop smoking.
Okay, moving on to the last part, which is the gum disease treatment. Here we can classify the treatment into two categories, which are the non-surgical and surgical treatment. For non-surgical treatment, we have procedures like dental professional cleaning and also scaling and root planing treatment, where both procedures remove hardened plaque and tartar from above and below the gum line of our tooth. While for surgical treatment, we have bone graft that help bone regrow in areas destroyed by gum disease, and also a surgery called flap or pocket reduction surgery, where it reduces the space between the tooth and the gum, limiting the areas for bacterial growth.
Hello everyone, I'm Shazwani and I'm going to talk about oral incompleteness. So what is oral incompleteness? Oral incompleteness is an ongoing chronic inflammatory condition that affects the mucous membrane inside our mouth. It also may appear as a white lacy patches or red swollen tissues. Hi, I am Shazalina. The epidemiology of the disease is 1% of general population is affected. The disease often reported in middle-aged patients and more common in females than in males. People with mixed oral habits also have the higher risk.
Hi, I'm Fahim. So, the etiology of the oral findings is genetic background such as HLA-A3, next food allergies, next are anxiety and stress, and lastly dental materials such as cobalt and palladium.
Physical features is relatively common disorder may affect the skin as well as the oral mucosa. Middle-aged women are affected more than men. In most cases, this disease is asymptomatic. However, some patients may complain of roughness or discomfort on eating spicy food.
Hi, I'm Shazana. I'm going to talk about oral manifestations of OLP. So for every type of OLP, you have different appearance on oral cavity. Here are the examples of manifestations for every type of OLP that you can observe.
There are 5 different types of oral lichen planus based on their form. First is reticular, second is papillary, third is plaque, which is commonly seen in smokers, fourth is bullous, fifth is erythematous, and lastly the ulcerative type.
For histopathological features, there are hyperkeratosis, thickening of granular layer, basal layer liquefaction or degeneration, sawtooth configuration at the red backs, and band-like epidermal lymphocyte infiltrate.
Upon review of symptoms, there are several differential diagnoses. It could be oral leukoplakia, frictional keratosis, and phamgoid. To determine whether it is oral lichen planus, lab tests such as biopsy, cultures, and blood tests are done.
For the complications, 1% of the oral lichen planus shows malignant transformation, which the common ones are erosive, atrophic, and also the ulcerative variant. If it is left untreated, it may increase the risk of the oral cancer.
Management for oral lichen planus. The first crucial things to do is to make a diagnosis to detect patient with oral lichen planus. Asymptomatic patient need no treatment, but must be followed up every 6 months, while symptomatic patients may for candida have to be done.
Cleft lip and palate. Have you ever heard of cleft lip and cleft palate? Cleft lip and palate are congenital split or opening in the upper lip, palate, or both. They result from incomplete fusion of the respective structure during fetal development. They are among the most common birth defects. They commonly occur as isolated birth defect, but can also result from inherited genetic condition.
There are several types of cleft lip and palate, such as unilateral incomplete cleft lip, unilateral complete cleft lip, bilateral complete cleft lip, incomplete cleft palate, unilateral complete cleft lip and palate, bilateral complete cleft lip and palate.
Hi doctor, may I know what are the factors of cleft lip and cleft palate?
Hi, sure. It is actually caused by maintenance smoking that contain high number of toxic chemicals which are nicotine and tobacco. Next, it is also can caused by high consumption of alcohol by the mother. This is because it will reduce alcohol metabolism. Lastly, medication intake during pregnancy also can be the factor of cleft lip and palate because folic acid is essential for the development of the fetus in the womb.
Oh, okay. Thank you, doctor. Have a nice day.
Consequences due to left untreated cleft lip and palate. Those with untreated cleft lip and palates might have feeding difficulties and speech delay. They also prone to get ear infection, hearing loss, and dental problems.
So, what are the treatment and prevention for cleft lip and palate? Children with a cleft lip or palate will need several treatment and assessment as they grow up. The first 6 weeks, usually to ensure the infant got proper diet and need providing feeding assistance. During 3 to 6 months after the birth, there will be surgery to repair a cleft lip, and 6 months later will be surgery to cleft palate repair. The baby will have regular hearing tests on the 18 months old. There will be speech assessment and speech therapy during preschooler year. During 8 to 12 years, bone grafting is used to repair cleft in the gum area, and during 12 to 15 years, orthodontic treatment will be provided and the growth of the jaw will be